I think the term for this room is going to be no snakes in the bedroom. Beautiful fireplace. Some of the most gorgeous andirons I've seen in any of the rooms. So one, I guess they like their guests. I wouldn't want my guests to stay too long, so I guess that'd be why I'd put. There you go. That's why we have snakes in the bedroom. Like, get out.
Well, if you got a dollar, well, just lousy down. You know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.
It's a beautiful day in Wilmington, Delaware. We got Trusty Huckster Mercantile along with Scott from the old Curiosity Shop on our way into Nemours, one of the DuPont estates here in the Wilmington area, right behind us there. And I'm not sure we're going to be able to film much inside, and not sure there's going to be much of a video at all, but hey, I decided to do an intro because we're having fun, and you know, it's always nice to get some added research of what those decorative arts looks like once they were in use by the really rich that bought them to begin with. So let's see what we find. So we've got these gorgeous gates that you enter to go into the estate itself. You see there's some scaffolding put up around it, and there's a little sign here, the English Gates Restoration Project. It's explaining what the gates are and why you're working on them, you know, for those that don't understand the concept of weather. So you've got these gates that are being redone and regilt, and we've got some gentlemen doing it right in front of us. So you can see they're brushing on the gilt onto the leaf of the gate. You can see kind of how it's applied, kind of floating there in the wind, and then he'll brush it into place. And you can see the sheets that he's applying. So that's how the process is done. Got to see it in action. And this is the view you get when you own half of Delaware. Lovely. So this is from the steps of Nemours Mansion down the grassy walkway into the reflecting pool onto the colonnade. So the gardens here are pretty extensive, but
they're serving lemonade.
Lemonade and tea in the garden. I'm sure Jeeves will be by any moment. But we're going to go into the mansion and we'll see what we can find inside and if we can film it. So I have permission to record in the home or in the estate. So you enter in through the reception hall. It's got an absolutely fantastic ceiling. I'm going to cross the room a little bit because we got a little bit of a mini tour across under the chandelier. The house when it was built did not have the painted ceiling as it does now. It actually had a wood ceiling. And they left when they had changed it. They restored it to what the original wood would have looked like, which I think is a phenomenal treatment for showcasing how the home has changed over the years. So would have been a beautiful with an all wood ceiling, but it had been more of a hunting lodge look. There's actually a photograph that they shared. This is what the reception hall looked like initially, with all the taxidermy heads in it, and you can see the dark ceiling. So they changed it after a few years with all the gilt and lightened it up and made it more like a French reception hall. So that's Alfred DuPont. That's above the fireplace. And I was shooting high because there were people in the room, but they all left, so I can turn a little bit now. And so I'm just circling the reception room and jump ahead of this. I'm not showing the docent. You know, some of the artwork, and again, this was probably they left the wood. I mean, it fits with this style, but that was probably here under the hunting lodge as well. And you know, I'm into the decorative arts. You know, I'm never going to own or sell anything this gorgeous, but it's amazing to be in the same room as something like this that decorates this estate. And then we've got Scott in the background talking about mechanicals, as he is wont to do, because he is a very handy man.
Come and look at that over here. This isn't just a clock, but there's an organ, a pipe organ inside.
You're kidding.
No, so it's a musical clock. And the guide was telling us that it works, but they don't run it in order to preserve it on a regular basis. But you can see it's all mechanical, and the little pipes inside, the wooden pipes, and it plays 2 or 3 arias when it gets going.
Oh, that's fantastic. And there's the casework for this.
I want to take it home. Okay.
That's why you're not allowed to bring a backpack in here.
Now, this
These are the 2 of the siblings of Alfred.
And just look at the detail work, the metal work on the top. You know, I could film in here for hours. This is, and that is the original DuPont that came here. Let's see if my memory of the docent. January 1st, 1800. And it was his son who founded the gunpowder factory that built the DuPont fortune. So Scott and I are drooling already as we enter the morning room, and we've just got eye candy for everyone. So Scott's eyeing the lampshade, figuring out how he can jump the velvet rope and sneak that out the window. I'm looking at the ormolu mounted the mirrors. The chandelier is beyond anything that I would ever see in Chicago. We've got some Wedgwood to make Sir Nate happy in New Zealand. So we've got some monumental urns flanking the fireplace. Some European porcelain in the middle, and that clock is absolutely gorgeous. And the, let's see, Empire chairs. No, not demi-ludes, just some marquetry inlaid sideboards. This place is too much. The gilt pelmets, like on the curtains. Yes, so that was some of the history. So we.
Some of the 20s era furniture.
It was started in 1909. It only took 18 months to build, and primarily, no, you're good. Primarily lived here through. His first wife died after 10 years, remarried in 21, lived until the Mr. DuPont died in, 35 or 40, something like that. And then it actually was his third wife, then lived here until 1970 when she died, but it had been in the DuPont will that the home be turned over to the public. So she was prepping it during her dotage to turn it into a museum, and it became a museum then in the 70s. And it's fabulous. Definitely worth a trip to Wilmington, Delaware. So we have entered the drawing room, and it happens at this point to be all ours. So I'm going to do a scan, 360, so you can see just some of the amazing pieces that are in here. And it's even staged in such a way that Mrs. DuPont just left her handbag and her scarf on the side. There we go. She's a drinking lady, so we're going to see that on the other side of the room. Portraiture. So this is one of the Mrs. DuPonts. We're not sure which one, but based on the dress, that was probably the earlier one where the house was built, and it was built as a gift for her. Why don't I have friends like that, or family?
I wonder if she has any peekaboo tumblers.
Yeah, those are the peekaboo tumblers are hiding in the kitchen.
That's more.
That's what I'm going to find. So some beautiful upholstery, statuary. Looks like the doors go into the sunroom. Aim high because somebody's walking into the room and I don't want to show them. But just the ceiling medallion, just the detail work that is put into all of these. Sculptures on the side. Some of the lampshades that Scott falls in love with. See, get a nice close look at this one. Just some beautiful detail work on this. These look like they're linen inserts instead of glass or metal, but still an absolutely fantastic piece. And then it's sitting on a table that probably costs more than my house. So some absolutely gorgeous work here in the drawing room. So as we step through the doorways that I showed from the drawing room, you end up actually in the conservatory. And we've got this beautiful black and white marble floor, the trellis work on the walls. Just check out even what the fabrics are attached to. Those drapery panels swing open. You can see they're hinged on the side. So it looks like the center, all those are doors actually, so you can get all these cross breezes.
Now, I will say I'm impressed that she has incorporated lucite chairs. These we were told by the guide. These are called ghost chairs. If people feel they need to sit, they can, but because it's lucite, you see right through it.
Yeah, they disappear into the room. Absolutely, because you in a functional space, when you have a house museum like this, there are going to be people that need to rest, and you can see some of the original furniture is roped off as it should be, so that people don't decide to rest on the original upholstery, because this would not last that long if this chinoiserie style fabric were sat on by the unwashed hordes that would be crossing through this as a house tour.
Unwashed horde?
You're washed, you're just part of the horde. So we've got this almost Moorish style bird cage. And if you listen really closely, you can hear they even have piped in birds. So you can imagine what was in there. And then, again, these would have opened. Now, this looks like a little Juliet balcony, so you wouldn't have actually entered the garden from here. But check out the view of the garden. Now, that's a maze I could handle. I could I could get through that maze. Again, just some great... it's just a great room.
I have my oatmeal after every morning.
And as I'm moving into the music room, I walk by the table, and here is a piece that will never grace the Just One More Dachshund Rescue fundraiser, because, you know, this is probably aiming to the price of my car. But check out this absolutely gorgeous porcelain dachshund. And I desperately want to pick him up, but I might be shot on sight. So I'm not going to pick him up, but he is within touching distance, and he is gorgeous. And I'm going to ask if the docent can tell me anything about him, but just needed to showcase him because I've never owned a dachshund, but the Just One More Dachshund Rescue deserves all of our support. And just check it, that face. How can you say no to a doxy face? And for our glass lovers, we have a Zolnay, and we did verify that by a docent because Scott and I both got it wrong. Beautiful vase, but we knew there was Tiffany favrile somewhere in the room, and so we will scan a little bit without giving you a headache and find it is actually a monumental Tiffany favrile floor vase with a peacock pattern. Isn't that amazing? So we are in the music room. Sorry, a little jumpy there. We are in the music room, so I'll do a quick scan of some of the rest of the room.
Yeah.
It has some of my favorites. You know, the decorative arts are well on display. Sorry, we're getting a little backlit there, but check out the white Steinway grand. Concert grand? Baby grand.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe a baby grand. What are they? Were they on a budget that day? I don't think that's a full size. Anyway, it's still gorgeous. And I'm working my way over to the cabinet I want to smuggle out in my shorts. The decorative arts cabinet. So this is a curio cabinet.
Yes, you can say here.
Quite a bit of glare, so I'm going to come here from the side. It's a beautiful day out, but that sun is not always our best friend in trying to film. There's some great pieces that evidently, as we understand, the storage area is on the 4th floor, and they rotate out the pieces. And I did ask about the dachshund in the last segment, and it's actually a new addition. It just rotated in this past year and came out of storage on the 4th floor. So I'm happy that the doxy made an appearance while I was in the house. So we've somewhat kind of gone in a circle. We've crossed through the reception hall again. Through that doorway is actually the entrance hall, so that leaves the building. So we kind of came in through the reception hall, went to the right. We've now come in and are doing to the left. And this is the writing room, or the secretary's room, which Scott has decided is the room he will be moving into. I'm sure they won't notice. With all of this amazing oak paneling, which is actually from the 1600s. They purchased it in Europe, dismantled it, brought it back here, and custom fitted it into this room. This monumental fireplace with disappointingly plain andirons, but that's okay because we've got enough other eye candy in here to make us happy. And as I walked in through the door, which this may have been part of the original paneling, but you can see the way the oak has been pieced together, book matched. So when you take a tree, plane it into its panels, you find two of the panels that originally were connected or part of the same grain pattern. They mirror each other, and you create this little butterfly wave effect.
How can you tell oak in this medullary rays, I think is what they're called, quarter sawn gives you, sometimes you'll hear it called tiger oak, or just quarter sawn oak. And
so it looks similar to my piano, but this is a far superior example.
That is a radio, and I'm dying to see the inside of it. That is a fancy radio cabinet.
So would the bottom have been the... Is this one of the... had the phonograph that pulled out of the top? Would that drawer be a phonograph?
No.
Possibly. This would all be radio?
Yeah, this is all... This would... this doesn't look like it has a phonograph in it, but it might underneath. There were combination models, but this looks like a drawer, but usually it's a panel that folds down like a desk.
Oh, okay.
And the radio is across the top and speaker would below. I wish we could see the inside of it.
We've entered the library, which is connecting to the writing room. So it's got the same 17th century oak paneling. And the writing room was home to the secretary, and evidently she got the crappy andirons because the good ones showed up here. So those are far more to the scale of the fireplace. And check out that overmantel. This is just, it's amazing. And then you've got the cove ceiling plaster with all these details going into it. And then the massive bronze chandelier in the middle.
Shades, these lampshades.
So off of the entrance hall is the staircase hall. And it has a massive staircase. It needs a hall of its own, which leads up to an amazing stained glass window. See if I can zoom in a little bit, get some of that detail. With the light coming through that, hitting that chandelier, it just makes this room so bright, and it's just got the gorgeous detail on the railing, the gilt along the frieze underneath the railing, and they even decorated the undercarriage of the stairs.
I'm glad I wouldn't want to have to dust this place, would you?
Nope.
But I imagine Mrs. DuPont didn't do a lot of her own dusting.
That's true.
Very nice.
So we've entered the dining room. First thing you see is a chandelier. We've learned there's lead crystal. Anyone who questions why I like all things Austrian, they should answer it. This is from Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, Austria. And there's a steel beam that runs the length of the room to be able to support the weight of the chandelier, which is hovering over an absolutely gorgeous table, which has 24 leaves and seats... 16 leaves and seats 24 people. So you've got 24 matching chairs you can see across the back of the room there. And for those who question what a salt cellar's for, you know, we've got probably the most expensive set that I'm ever going to see next to the pepper pot, spread out across the table, so no one has to reach to ask for the salt. So we've entered we're in the guest wing with some of the guest bedrooms, and they're all gorgeous, but the item that I actually wanted to videotape was what Scott discovered with these lead crystal urns are handled as snakes, intertwined snakes that I think the term for this room is going to be no snakes in the bedroom. Beautiful fireplace. Some of the most gorgeous andirons I've seen in any of the rooms. So one, I guess they like their guests. I wouldn't want my guests to stay too long, so I guess that'd be why I'd put. There you go. That's why we have snakes in the bedroom. Like, get out. But some great. We've got two twin beds in this one. So this is the north front room. We were playing a game of Identify the Hippo. So anyone wants to put any guesses on that one? I love that greyhound in the back. And on the bedside table, you've got the little buzzer. I didn't record it in the butler's pantry because there were a bunch of people in there with us, but there's the chiming board in the butler's pantry. So when guests or anywhere in the house would ring the buzzer, it would have an indicator in the butler's pantry. So this is the guest room. The home is filled with a lot of references to different types of dogs. And this one I can't resist. It's a little, looks like bronzed paper holder. I won't touch him, but you can see he's hinged. So you'd press on the back of his head so his mouth opens and you could hold some papers down so they don't blow away. But you've got it on a glass plate that is engraved with J.B. DuPont. So you've got an engraved piece from the DuPonts, this is still in the guest room. So I guess they don't want the guests to forget you're in a DuPont place. So this is a piece of furniture you can get in one of the guest suites, and I just thought it was worth highlighting. First, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of furniture, but I've never seen these tambour doors on this one that are a tambour door styled like books. So you can see they left it partially open. As you push that to the side, each of the books would fold into the side walls. And this one has been pushed almost all the way over. So it's kind of like what a typical roll-top desk has, that like flexible panels. These were just done in such a way that once it's completely closed, it looks like a secretary, because it is a roll-top desk, but it's a solid piece. And then the drawers are protected, whether they're secret, I don't really think. I think people would know, but it would give a very distinct look to this piece of furniture.
That's the best view in the house.
So we're in another guest suite. Has one of the most beautiful chandeliers that we've seen. We've got a little private bath, a little ensuite with a lavender and white tiled floor and some lavender wall subway tiles. I hate to use the term subway tile in a place like this, but subway shaped sized tiles. Chinoiserie mirror. Everyone needs some pheasants. And then you have the look out the window. And so this is the same view we saw when we were coming in. So we are right over the front entrance. You got a straight shot of the grass alley down to the reflecting pool to the colonnade. And your own private nightlight hanging right outside your window. So we've entered Mrs. DuPont's sitting room, which, as the docent pointed out to us, is actually half the size of the way the house was built. Originally would have taken up the entire wing, and actually Mr. DuPont's bedroom would have taken up this whole wing, and she wanted to have a sitting room. So this room has been designed, has some great accents and remnants, and there's our little scarf dancer boudoir lamp, as we had hoped and expected. So this is her sitting room, and then it looked like the hallway took us into her private bath. So she had plenty of space, upright shower, which I don't know if that would have been original. Looks like maybe it was. I didn't know those were around when the house was built. So this has the baby blue and white tile floor instead of the lavender. And then as you cross the hall, you enter her walk-in closet with the linen press with the drawers that come out and the hanging bars, which I'm assuming would have been double hung, but wouldn't have worried Mrs. DuPont because I'm sure the maid was the one that had to ruffle through all of her stuff. But nice big closet to hold all the expensive stuff. We got the docent's story in the dining room that they did dress for dinner. So she was in an evening gown every evening for dinner. And this is where they'd all be stored. So a brisk walk down the path from the home gets us to the chauffeur's garage. So not sure what the lighting will be on inside, but here's the building and we're going in. So for all the auto lovers, we've got the line of Rolls-Royce. So this one's the 1960 Rolls-Royce Phantom 5 town car. They moved the 1951 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith.
With custom blueberry paint.
Oh, custom blueberry. That is a pretty color. And then we've got the 1933 Buick Coupe. Love that mascot. Let's check that out. And then we're moving on to the 1924 Cadillac. And then the 1921 Cadillac Renault with the cane sides. With a great mascot on that one too. Both of the Cadillacs have that mascot. All right. We're at Trusty and Curiosity
Shop.
Are closing up the trip to Nemours. It was phenomenal. Everyone knows Winterthur. I actually thought we were going to go to Winterthur, and Scott, in his absolute intelligence and suggestibility, suggested this place, and I couldn't be happier. Absolutely loved it. He doesn't know how to stay in the shop, but other than that, he has great taste in mansions.
Well, thank you.
So we've got the little water feature in the back. And neither one of us are big into the horticulture, but we're not really going to do the garden, so this is basically the most you're going to get out of the garden shot. But if you're ever in the Wilmington area, definitely check this place out. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, hit a like button, share this with your friends. If you're not following Scott, you don't know what you're missing, go ahead and find Scott at the Old Curiosity Shop and subscribe to him and see what he's got on his eBay stores. And thanks for watching the video. Thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster and the Old Curiosity Shop.
Okay, that's it. So long for now.
Bye-bye.
Well, show me a sign if you're wishing me to stay. Otherwise, I say goodbye and finish out the day. And that sunrise in the morning and you got nothing to say. Oh, that's when I'll be headed on my way.